My name is Jani Radebaugh. I'm a professor in geological sciences at Brigham Young University, and I'm a planetary scientist. Minerals are the building blocks of everything we see on Earth. So a mineral needs to be naturally occurring, it needs to have a regular makeup, and needs to be solid. Rocks are made up of minerals. So you can see that this rock here has got a bunch of little minerals in it. Rocks can have other things like glass and lava and clay, but these minerals of peridot or olivine are contained inside this lava rock. Or you could have quartz crystals inside this sandstone. And so it's just quartz and cement, and that makes up a rock. Favorite volcano? That's super hard because they're all different and wonderful, kind of like your children or your students. So I love the volcanoes in Ethiopia, like Ale that has a lake of lava. Vanuatu in the South Pacific has got another beautiful lake of lava. And then the 2021 eruption of the Iceland volcano down on the Reykjanes Peninsula was beautiful and spectacular with high fountains. Probably though, my favorite is Kilauea in Hawaii. And that's just because I know it the best. I've been many times. I can think of lots of times walking across the flats in the dark and the rough lava and then seeing a little tiny bit of red lava crawling out from underneath and being able to go see it and scoop it up and study it. And so I really love Kilauea. When I first started climbing, it's when I was here as an undergrad at BYU. And I didn't realize at the time that I was lucky to learn up in Rock Canyon on some of the best climbing rocks in the world. And that is quartzite. There is a slab of rock just as you get up the canyon up on the right, and it's kind of a yellowish color, but it's really hard. And it has any tiny indentations you can just grab onto and climb. So the harder the rock, the better for climbing. That said, the quartzite can sometimes be a little bit slippery. So if you have other imperfections in the rock, like if you go up American Fork Canyon, you can find some limestone there. And that's really good for climbing because it's got broken pieces and pockets and holes, but it's rough on your hands. So there's a lot of friction on the rocks and it holds you up there, but it's bad for your hands. Probably the very best rock in the world is granite. And that's because it's really hard, but there are tiny crystals in it that really help you to create a hold and to grab on. That's the kind of rock you see at Half Dome in Yosemite, world famous for climbing. So you found a meteorite. How can you tell if it's a meteorite for sure? First of all, they look just a little bit different from other rocks. Some of them are very heavy. This one is heavy. It's made of almost entirely iron. So if you were to stub your toe on this rock, you would know it. It's super hard and heavy and different from other rocks you have in the backyard. The other thing is it's got a sort of a dimpled texture. And this is because it burned as it was coming through Earth's atmosphere and bladed away in these little kind of pockets all across the rock. And so you want to look for that pockety texture and also a crust. This has got a kind of a thin, it's called fusion crust from burning as it comes in the atmosphere. Meteorites don't have holes in them, unlike lava rock, because this can look a little bit like a lava rock, but there are no holes in rocks in outer space. And so if your rock has holes, it's probably not a meteorite. If your rock is not magnetic, it might not be a meteorite. These are pretty magnetic, which you can test. Finally, if it's got that crust, that fusion crust, that's a good indicator that what you have is a meteorite. Earthquakes happen all over Earth's surface because it's so active, but they do cluster in some locations because some regions are more active than others. This is because plates are coming together or they're spreading apart and they create faults and then rocks move on those faults. It turns out we have a big fault right here by the Wasatch Mountains. That's why the mountains are so tall. The valley is dropping down, the mountains are rising up, and so there's friction and sliding on those rocks right at the base of our Wasatch Mountains, pretty close to where we are at BYU. So the risk for an earthquake here in Provo is pretty high. So you should be prepared. You should have a go bag. You should have a plan to talk to your people and just be aware that it could happen sometime. But you never know. Is that the next couple minutes? Is that the next couple thousand years? We don't know. I hope these little tips about geology are helpful and interesting and exciting and tell you about the wonderful world we live in through the lens of geology. If you have other questions, please leave a comment.